Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value, and what I'm going over today is technical analysis of gold and silver. Gold and silver, we've got some mixed signals here. I'm really looking at the mining companies because the mining companies usually lead the metal prices. So I'm not so focused on the metal prices, I'm focused on kind of the ETFs and some of the mining companies to see if they can pull us out of this. What I'm expecting, and what I'm hoping for, not really expecting, this is more of a hope. I'm hoping that people will rotate into gold and silver with the dollar weakening. I'm hoping that happens. Doesn't mean it will happen. And what I'm looking at here, I'm going to go over a bunch of stuff. 10-year yield's been going down. Dollar's been going down. And usually that's a good mix, a good mixture, for stirring this up for a gold and silver rally. But we haven't seen the rally yet. And it's quite perplexing. We've got market conditions that are also in favor of gold and silver going higher in terms of real negative yields. So we have nominal yields that are held down really low, that are moving down. And then we've got, we've got inflation that's been moving on up. So usually when you have inflation going up and yields either flat or going down, and it is very rare to see inflation move up and interest rates go down. So it's perplexing at best here. So I'll go over what I'm seeing, give you all the data that I'm looking at, and kind of the reasoning and opinions that I have here. So here's gold and silver. And this was the dollar today. It was down 0.23%. It didn't finish there. I did it a little bit before market close. But that's a pretty good down day for the dollar. It's a significant amount. And if you look at the short term on the dollar, we did break to the downside of this pattern. It's an ascending wedge breaking to the downside. So I think we'll see in the near term, at least, some pressure to move down. Although, if this were to reverse and move higher and break out of this pattern coming across, if it broke to the upside, because we do have the 50-day coming around and the 200-day, we could see a pocket of something that's still left from COVID, like a deflationary scare. Because usually you'll have the dollar go up and yields go down, and people are seeking safety. But we've got the dollar going down, which is usually an inflationary pressure and a tailwind to commodities. Usually when you have the dollar going down, you've got the 10-year going up. We got the 10-year going down in yields. This is yields, remember, not the price of bonds. It's yields. And when yields go down, bond prices go up. It means people are seeking safety. The question is, safety from what? And it's okay to not know what's going on. You can say that is the Federal Reserve in here buying this stuff up? I don't know. But is there some sort of deflationary problem still in the system? Perhaps, maybe. Maybe that's why gold's not responding to the weakness in the dollar here. We've got the money supply growth, which is in the black line. And remember, this is a percentage. This isn't going down. This is just, it's declining a little bit in the percentage increase, which is still a huge percent increase in relationship to history. Then we've got inflation in the red line coming on up to meet this movement in M2 money supply. Because usually what happens is you have a movement in the M2 money supply and then a delay in inflation right behind it, delayed by a few years. And that's what usually you see. So this is the money printing coming up here as this portion here, and then you've got this massive move higher, and we'll see if that comes. If it does, you're going to see a huge revaluation of gold and silver if that inflation comes like this M2 money supply is. And I don't know, I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but this move I think is equivalent to this move, and this move is about to get accounted for. And here's the real interest rate. Usually what happens when this goes down, when it becomes more negative, when it's going in the down direction, it's positive for gold. And we've had this massive fall in real interest rates, which usually is a good sign for gold to move higher. So here's GDX, and I'm jumping right into the mining companies. I've got this circled over here. We've got two bullish engulfings, and we're kind of moving sideways here. We do have some momentum coming down, and I'm hoping that this gets worked off and the buyers step in to move this up. I'm hoping that this kind of shoulder, head, shoulders worked its way out. We've got some good, solid support down here. And I'd like to see the buyers step in here. They need to step in here now. If we lose this to the downside, I think we're going to move down, a good ways. Maybe $100 to $200 off the price of gold, somewhere in that range. Here's GDXJ. We're still holding on. We've got momentum coming down, though. That's the only negative thing I see here. But we are basically completing this pattern down here, which is kind of a shoulder, head, shoulder type deal. We've got a bullish engulfing and another bullish engulfing, which usually means we want to see upside, buyers stepping in here to send this thing higher. We do have small down days, which is good. It's a signature trait that we could move up. It's still a possibility. So let's see the buyers come in here. Come on, buyers, step in. Let's push this thing higher. Here's SILJ, this ETF. Again, we're kind of coiling up here, and I don't want it to be a continuation pattern to the downside. We kind of fight back up. We got to see which way this breaks. Up good, down bad. And silver has been coming under a lot of pressure here recently. And it doesn't look too good because we do have a top here. Basically, it couldn't break through 1750. They held that. The sellers held that very well. Pushed this thing down. We broke through the bottom piece here, and now we're trying to fight to come back up. Here's Gato Silver. I know some people wanted me to look at a couple of companies. Some people asked me to look into Gato. Here's Gato. This thing's coming on up. We had a nice little sell-off here. A little bullish engulfing here. 2 small down days. This has the potential to move higher, just like GDX, GDXJ. It's basically playing the same playbook. The only thing that's negative is we do have a lot of momentum coming down. That's the only thing that I can see negative on all these charts. The momentum down here, the momentum down, momentum down. We got to have the buyers step in here and put in a war here. Otherwise, the seller's going to step in and push this lower. Here's Hecla Mining. Here's another one. We broke out of a huge, big old pattern back here. I'm bullish on Hecla, and we're just coming back to kind of kiss that guy. We've got a nice little wick on the bottom. Doesn't look too bad. We just need the buyers to step in here and push it up. This setup here is good for the buyers to step in here at any time. Same with Endeavor Silver. Got a nice little big up day, 2 small pullback days. Nice little kind of wick. It's starting to do a little wick at the bottom, but the momentum's to the downside. I'm just looking at the very short term. Momentum's downside. We need buyers to step in to reverse it. First Majestic Silver. Downside momentum. Lots of big down days through here. Popped higher, little pullback. Popped higher, little wick on the bottom. It's kind of coiling up. Hopefully we break to the upside here right now. Teuton Resources. This is one that I bought kind of this day in here. I bought TEUTF, but this is the one that we chart. And we had a nice little pop higher. I even think it ended higher than this. So that's a nice little bounce off support. EMX is another one that I was buying. Looks like we had a little down day today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But this is kind of a bearish sign where we could head a little bit lower. Franco-Nevada, big bullish engulfing right here. Small little down day. This buyers are in control. I think this can still head higher. And then Wheaton Precious Metals. Again, we pulled back. We pulled up. Nice 2 little small down days here. This formation, I think, has the potential to move on up. We do have downward momentum before it, though. So we'll see what happens. I'm really focusing kind of on the strength and weakness of the dollar. That dollar usually ties pretty close to commodities. And it's going to be funky to see the dollar decline, to see yields decline, and to have gold and silver decline with it. It's a very dumbfounding situation to see these things kind of all go down together. Because usually when you've got the dollar going down, people are seeking another asset. They're selling the dollar, going into something else. So we'll continue to monitor this. We'll see where this thing takes us. I'm looking really at the big kind of ETFs to see if the ETFs take off and go to the upside. I think gold and silver will follow with it. If they don't, I think you're going to see this thing kind of roll over. So we'll see what happens. We got the next week. I'm still short-term bullish. Hopefully these buyers can buy, come in here and buy this stuff. If not, we're going to head lower here if they don't step in. All right, thanks for listening. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.